with so many podcasts out there, shows can get lost in the shuffle. That's why we implore you to check out Too Many Captains. You can find us at amoviepodcast.com.
5 unique takes on Hollywood movies and culture. Find us on Twitter at It's a Film Podcast.
Check our intellectual deep dives into theatrical films. Find us on Instagram at Too Many Captains Productions.
Unique takes on soundtracks. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Too Many Captains Productions.
Find us at amoviepodcast.com on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. And now, here comes a new episode of Collateral Cinema.
Tonight on The Director's Cut, we go into the world of Stoned Gremlin Productions with our top 5 favorite Cinema Snob episodes and a random DVD review of the Troma classic Bloodsucking Freaks. So stick around. The show starts right now. Welcome to Collateral Cinema Director's Cut. I'm Beau Maddox.
I'm Robert.
And we're podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, be it dabs, be it blunts, be it bongs, be it joints, smoke it if you've got it. And Robert, what are you smoking right now?
Oh, just vaping, you know.
Just vaping it, right?
Just like a teenager. You know?
Yeah, just like a fucking teenager.
Yep.
How are you doing, Robert?
Doing all right. It's like, no, it's 1 in the morning.
It's 1 in the morning, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually this late whenever we podcast. I mean, because we're just night owls. So, I mean, fuck it, right?
We don't have work, so.
Yeah, I don't have to work in the morning. So, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and...
I definitely don't have to work, so.
Yeah. But anyway, let's go ahead and just jump straight into the action. We're talking about the Cinema Snob, a.k.a. Brad Jones. He has been a YouTube reviewer and critic for movies for a long time. He's kind of affiliated with the channel Awesome Crowd, but he pretty much runs his own production company. And honestly, I actually find his work to be a lot more rewatchable than most YouTubers on the scene right now. Robert, what did you initially think when you saw your first Cinema Snob episode?
I think you turned me on to Brian Jones.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, we did watch the Buttercream episode, and that's what turned me on, probably.
Yeah, man. And that led to, honestly, what is one of
we had to do.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done on the main podcast. I think it was actually pretty decent.
What did I think about it? Oh, his view towards, oh, God.
All kinds of nonsense, right?
Oh, my God. I don't know
yeah,
how
we just kind of took that and ran with it, honestly. I mean...
I don't even know half the shit he says. It's just freaking hilarious.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to our top 5 favorites. Like, obviously, we love the Cinema Snob character. We love his reviews. He pretty much just riffs on different types of movies, from pornography to old school and even more modern religious movies. He's pretty much been going through all the different slasher movies. And
food.
Yeah, he also tries food. That's right. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and list our top 5 favorite episodes, at least this time. This is probably a list we're going to revisit because there's just so many different Cinema Snob episodes out there. Like, I think over 470 to be exact. So
470? Wow.
Yeah, he's done quite a few movies. And we'll go ahead and start with you, Robert. What is your 5th favorite Cinema Snob episode?
My number 5 would have to be Leprechaun 3 in Vegas.
Yeah, that's a great review, honestly, of a great series. I mean, the first 4 Leprechaun movies to me are just so classic. And this ties back, of course, to an episode that we did on the main podcast.
Returns.
Yeah, we did Leprechaun Returns. We talked about that series for a little bit. But why specifically Leprechaun 3? Like, what did he say about this movie that kind of caught your ear or eye or whatever?
I don't know. It's just watching his reviews are freaking hilarious, one after another. And
yeah, but specifically with Leprechaun 3.
We just got to watch that.
Yeah. Well, for one, I just love how he really approaches something as silly as Leprechaun 3, you know? And it's a very silly movie, and he gives it just the treatment it deserves, honestly.
Oh, yeah, for what it is. I mean, I think it's Warwick Davis, one of his funnest films he's ever done.
Yes, he loves that movie. So, yeah, that's actually a good one to start with. My number 5 is the Estes Perkle film, If Footmen Tire You, What Will Horses Do? This goddamn movie is a fucking fever dream of Christian right nonsense that came straight from the late 60s and early 70s. So this is right up the Cinema Snob's bailiwick, and he really just waylays this fucking movie. And I really like the choice of this movie because of how creepy everything is throughout. Just that weird nature of his sermon, and then like the reenactments that he says, like the reenactments that are all gory and grindhousey and everything. It's like, what the fuck? Where did he even find this fucking movie?
I have not seen that movie before and didn't watch the Brad Jones review at all.
I was pretty sure that I showed that to you. It was that one old Mississippi Baptist preacher. He was like, "Will you come? Will you come?
Oh my God.
Will you come?" And Brad Jones appropriately takes him down several pegs, especially in the other two Estes Perkle films that he did. One is The Sinner's Hell or something like that, and then there's one called The Believer's Heaven. And yeah, it honestly gets creepier and creepier with every movie. And yeah, Brad definitely gives it exactly what it deserves. Yeah, rest in peace, Estes Perkle, or whatever, I guess. God damn it. But anyway, we're going to go into our number 4 favorite Cinema Snob episodes. Robert, what is your number 4?
Buttercream Gang.
Oh, snap. One of our favorites of all time, just like we talked about at the top of the episode. I mean, we're not going to go too deep into the movie itself because we did a full episode on it, of course, and we highly recommend everybody checks that out. But Robert, what made this review stick out to you other than the fact that it's probably the first Cinema Snob episode you've seen?
Just the way he tore into the characters and the way he tore into that whole town for being what it was, you know?
Yeah, and truth be told, it kind of became a running joke within our podcast. That,
it's a meme that's still going.
Yeah, it's a meme that still goes on to this day, and that's pretty much what our episode is. It's pretty much a fucking meme, honestly. It's like an hour and a half long fucking podcast meme.
Just clown dong on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to take seriously, but his take on this movie just really, like you said, it takes these characters who are supposed to be so white bread and so wholesome and kind of just exposes the dark side, or at least a dark enough take that you can apply to it. Because, I mean, it's a schmaltzy, cheesy movie in its own right, but
it's a made-for-TV movie, wasn't it?
No, it's direct-to-video.
Director? Oh,
yeah.
Hallmark looking.
Yeah, but Robert, what's your favorite moment in that review?
Where they're at the dance and he's tearing the kids a new asshole just for the way they dance, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty much mayo dancing, right?
There you go.
Oh my God.
Turkey on white with a crust.
Anyway, my number 4 favorite Cinema Snob episode is one of the Neil Breen trilogy. And that would be the end of that trilogy, Fateful Findings. And oh my God, that movie is a clusterfuck of just nonsense, man. Straight nonsense.
I haven't seen that. I think I've seen like half of that review, though.
Oh, come on, Robert. I thought you watched all of this.
All of it? No. I watched all mine, not all yours.
Damn it.
Should have put on some of yours.
I tried to, Robert. But
because we were still watching all mine.
But there's so many other great episodes that we kind of got a little distracted.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what's good about his channel, is that you can kind of dig deep into all of his Cinema Snob episodes, and you can find something new like every time. There's even episodes of his that I haven't seen all the way, and I'm trying to catch up on all of them now. But this particular movie, I mean, it's a top-notch episode, and it's because of the content, the actual movie itself, that he really just shines here, you know?
I guess Neil Breen, well, we'll be talking about my number 3 later, so.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well go ahead and talk about your number 3 because it ties directly into that.
Yeah, I see. I think you have to watch Double Down to realize what that is.
Yeah. That's the very first Neil Breen movie.
Yeah.
And that one is hilarious just because of his riffs on all the skulls that are just randomly out on the highway for some reason.
That's hilarious. It's like dumping dead bodies off the side of the road. Was that the desert?
Yeah, it's because apparently he's like some type of assassin. He assassinates white-collar criminals or some such nonsense. And he's carrying around all those broken laptops, and man, he tears into that constantly because the laptops are in the movie constantly.
They're hidden in the desert, and he's got the 2 satellites out of the car.
And Brad's just all like, that computer doesn't work because it was hidden out in the fucking desert.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hilarious episode because it's just such a mystifying movie. And all 3 of the Neil Breen movies that he has done so far, and I believe that there's another Neil Breen movie out there that it needs to be an episode soon. I mean, I don't know if Brad's listening to this, but yeah, definitely make this an episode as quickly as possible. But yeah, Double Down is definitely a good entry point for Neil Breen and also for Cinema Snob, especially more recent Cinema Snob. So
we found a site where we could buy it for $5.
Yeah.
I think we should do that.
We should, although in some way I kind of want to go ahead and buy it from Neil Breen just to kind of give him that support, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, there's no telling whether or not he's getting any type of royalties or anything from any of those DVDs, so...
It'll be like watching The Room again.
Yeah. It's like you get The Room through Tommy Wiseau. You should get any of these movies through Neil Breen. It's only fair, I think.
Signed autograph, maybe. Be great.
I don't know if he does that. He might, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we need to get that movie so we can binge it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that would be a lot of fun. Like, we need to get all 3 of his movies and just spend an entire night just watching all of them and just having our own riff session on it.
Oh, yeah. All that. What was that tuna fish he had in his trunk?
He had a bunch of empty cans of tuna fish. I'm surprised that Brad didn't actually point that out. But
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that would smell like ass within like a week.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just disgusting to me.
Fish cooking in the desert sun.
Yeah. And tuna fish, that's some of the type of food that even before I was vegan, I wouldn't eat. I didn't like it then. So... But yeah, that shit is still a hilarious episode. This is still a hilarious episode. And yeah, definitely good for new Cinema Snob fans.
Oh, yeah.
My number 3 is one of his Christmas episodes from a few years back. And oh my God, this is another batshit piece of insanity. And I know that
you showed me
I showed it
day.
to you.
That was like the 2 days ago, I think.
Yeah, and that would be Miss Velma's Most Incredibly Magnificent Christmas Week. This is some weird public access fucking nightmare of Christmas and
in America.
Yeah, Christmas in America.
There's American Christmas, America style.
Oh man, it's this weird and just nightmarish parade of Christian right nonsense and weird production values and this host who is less charismatic than she really thinks she is, honestly. It's like, I mean, I'm sorry, Miss Velma. I know you're not on this mortal coil anymore, but all that staging and costuming and everything cannot be a stand-in for charisma. That's just what that is. And this is, I'm failing to find words to describe it, but the way that Brad put it, I mean, he described the insanity perfectly. Robert, what did you think when you saw this?
What type of white bread trash am I watching here?
Yeah, what the fuck are we watching here?
Like,
you know,
what is this shit?
and it's a VHS rip, and I think there's a point where the tape runs out at the end. It's not even the complete program, but there's like a scene where she fires a gun, like supposedly a live gun with live ammo on stage, just randomly at the stage background, and then she plays a fucking hand organ. And oh my God, I mean, at the beginning of the episode, Brad, as the Cinema Snob, he says, I know that it's not Thanksgiving yet, but I'm bringing out the Christmas episodes early because you have to see this. This is batshit insanity. Yeah, if you check out the episode, you'll see what I mean. There's a weird audio issue that I think comes from the VHS where it feels like there's kind of a little bit of a panning hole, in a stereo hole in the middle where, I mean, it's kind of panned a little too hard and right. I think that might be just, the videotape. But yeah, I mean, that's the best that I can describe this episode and the movie that he actually reviews here. It's completely fucking insane, and you should watch his review, then go watch the actual video in its entirety on YouTube. It's insane. All right, it is time for our number 2 favorite Cinema Snob episodes. Robert, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Man, that's just a classic movie altogether, and I was actually really happy that Cinema Snob episodes started featuring these great old school horror franchises. I mean, he's done Sleepaway Camp, Hellraiser, he's done Nightmare on Elm Street,
Friday the 13th,
Friday the 13th, yeah, all the Halloweens, Hellraisers. I think I said that already, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's really probably one of my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street reviews of his. I mean, in a way, he riffs on it that kind of gives it the respect that it deserves, kind of, which is not saying much. I'm sure in real life he probably really likes the movie fine.
Yeah.
Probably finds flaws in it or whatever, but
it was good enough to make Part 4, right?
Hey, yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that the Dream Warriors concept, I mean, that's probably the most memorable part of it.
Yeah. That was one of the first ones I watched when I was a kid. That one in Part 4.
Yeah, I would say that I probably saw the very first one first.
Yeah.
And then I think I skipped up to like Dream Warriors.
I didn't watch them all in order. Wish I did. It would have been fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun to watch the series in order. And it's also fun to watch the Cinema Snob episodes one after the other. Just binge all the Nightmare on Elm Street reviews.
Yeah. All the Leprechaun reviews, we still got to do them all.
Yeah, I mean, he still has to make his Leprechaun 4 episode.
Oh, the in space one.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he gets around to that, I'm actually really excited for that because that is my favorite Leprechaun movie.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
We should watch Part 2, maybe.
We probably should. Yeah.
Review here in a sec later.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, we should. And what was your favorite moment from his review on that movie?
Probably where he was just tearing into John Saxton to like get his autograph for Enter the Dragon,
Yeah, that was great.
Funny, dude.
That's fucking great, honestly.
The 60s actor, he's done so many things.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's easy to forget that they brought both Heather Langenkamp and John Saxon back for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she dies at the end of it.
They both die.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, that whole family is officially wiped out now, so...
And then Brad Jones. I think he's the only one that notices, like, where's Nancy's father at? Because he died too. Should be buried next to him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he cracks all that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, my number 2 is, once again, one of the craziest old school Cinema Snob episodes ever. On a movie that makes no sense. It should not exist in any plane of existence, period. I mean, it just should not be. And that is Fun in Balloon Land. This is one of the movies that kind of both mystified the character of the Cinema Snob and also kind of, tortured him a little bit because it's pretty fucking bad. It's oh my God. It's literally this balloon company that made a movie with their parade balloons. They're all inflated in this warehouse. They have this little kid he's not mic'd up in any real sense of the word. And my God, it's once again difficult to describe the movie itself. And it starts off like this Fantasyland type scenario, and then it ends up just being footage of a parade with all this company's balloons in it, and this really, really batshit insane fucking color commentator, this woman who is just saying all this creepy shit about these balloons. I mean, it's supposed to be fun and, for kids and everything, but no, it's fucking nightmarish. And the Cinema Snob is just fucking gone on so many levels throughout this episode. I mean, he's just like, what the fuck? It's probably the most what the fuck episode of Cinema Snob ever. Robert, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't remember seeing that one.
You don't remember seeing it? That's another one I could have sworn that I showed you. Damn it.
Damn.
I mean, you're going to have to see it then, because
Fuck.
it is absolutely the most insane thing that has ever been committed to film. I don't know why it was made.
I'm over here trying to find it.
Yeah, seriously. It's absolutely insane, bro. And it was something that he ended up re-uploading in his Best of Cinema Snob series. So if you're going to look for it, it's in that particular playlist.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is vintage, straight up crazy ass Cinema Snob classic insanity. Like that's the best I can say about it.
Skip it on to number one.
Number one.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already at our number one. This is actually going by rather quickly in spite of all the craziness earlier.
Oh yeah.
I spilled a bunch of bullshit. Damn
technical difficulties.
Yeah, I guess you could call it technical difficulties. And we'll go ahead and go back to you, Robert, for the final time here. What's your number one favorite Cinema Snob episode?
Would have to be Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, yeah. We just watched that earlier, and oh, my God. That's actually, I think, an underrated movie in the Friday the 13th series. And I don't know. Maybe this review is maybe a little underrated in some ways. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out my ass.
I mean, the budget was like $3 million, and it grossed like $15 million, right? I mean, it did good.
It did well, and it kind of set up the framework for Jason Blum later on, like making cheap horror films and then just bringing in huge amounts of profit.
Bring it in the 90s. We got to do it.
Yeah. But in this episode, the character of the Cinema Snob is actually pointing out how good this movie is most of the time in his own acerbic way.
Yeah.
That's actually what I like about this episode. He's actually pointing out, like, the special effects are actually pretty cool. It's like, I mean, the characters are interesting and even likable. And the ones who are supposed to be unlikable, I mean, you really fucking don't like them. I mean, it's an effective movie, actually. And he also brings up the insanity of the whole body switching thing. Like, what do you think, Robert? I think that's what makes the movie itself a classic, is that it's just so different from all the other Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah, it's like a supernatural parasite or something from hell.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he becomes. It's basically the zombie Jason taken to its logical conclusion.
Just running around like a fetus trying to get into a Voorhees body.
Yeah, he has to be in a Voorhees body in order to truly resurrect or something like that.
Yeah.
And it only takes another Voorhees to kill him.
Yeah, with that special dagger. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Now, what do you think of the Cinema Snob parts of this episode?
Oh, I think it's funny in the beginning where he clowns like Jason for being dead and Kane Hodder's like standing right in the corner.
Oh, that's the best.
He's not dead. He's right there.
Yeah, he's constantly pointing out Kane Hodder and shit.
It's like, there he is. He's right there.
Yeah, that's definitely an awesome part of the review. And yeah, that's a great episode as well. And honestly, I can't wait to watch it again. Well, I mean, I think I brought up the rewatchability of Cinema Snob episodes, and this episode is very much why. And my number one is also why I kind of believe that about Cinema Snob. And it's the movie Old Fashioned. I think I have shown this movie to you. It's that religious movie it's like a romantic comedy.
God, yeah.
And the dude is such a fucking massive creepy dick.
It's like a tool.
But somehow this woman is falling in love with him. And
How? Why?
He's known as old-fashioned because, I mean, he won't be in the same room with another woman, which is creepy as fuck.
He can't be in her house.
Can't be in her house.
Having dinner.
I mean, he was once like a Girls Gone Wild type producer. I mean, that's pretty much the series that he made. He made like a Girls Gone Wild type of situation, which is that footage of that in this movie is creepy as fuck. I mean, there's so many things I could list from this movie that just irks me to no end and actually angers me. This is a Cinema Snob episode that actually angers me because he's angry throughout the whole episode.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pissed at this movie because its message is wrong, its tone is wrong, everything about it is just off. I mean, and at the very end of this episode, and I mean, it's my favorite part of the episode, I mean, might as well get that out of the way, is when he's just like, fuck this movie and fucking its how-to guide on how to live alone and die alone.
Oh, man.
Like, I mean, that is like the nail in the coffin for that fucking movie. I don't even know why this movie should exist. And Brad, as the Cinema Snob, man, you really fucking tore this movie down where it needed to be. I mean, shit. I'm actually getting angry myself thinking about this movie. Robert, do you remember this shit?
Yeah, I do.
What do you think, man? I mean, I'm starting to steam a little bit now.
I think his message is pretty funny, and it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's straightforward. Are you talking about the movie or the review?
His review towards the message it's trying to send to its viewers.
Right, yeah,
you know?
he attacks it constantly. And it's because of just the way that the movie is written, more or less. I mean, that's really what the ultimate slap in the face from this movie is its writing is atrocious, and it's pedantic, and it's preachy, and its message is just not something that people should take heed.
It's like Seventh Heaven bullshit. You know?
I think it's worse than Seventh Heaven.
It's a lot worse.
Seventh Heaven at least had some credibility, at least before the dad turned out to be a fucking creepler.
Yeah.
The actor in real life. But this has no credibility at all as a movie. At all. And the Cinema Snob, I mean, it's my favorite episode. He completely tears it down. Those are my favorite episodes, is when he gets indignant about a movie that he's reviewing. And I will definitely feature more movies like this on future Cinema Snob lists, because like I said, this isn't going to be the only Cinema Snob list that we do. I mean, we're just barely scratching the surface here.
We got over 400 episodes to do, right?
Over 470.
470, okay.
Yeah, as I stated before the episode. Yeah, 473 or something like that.
It's a long way.
Yeah, it's a lot to get into. It really is. So that is our top 5 favorite Cinema Snob episode list. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we get back, we are going to do a random DVD review for the crazy little slice of nastiness that is Troma's Bloodsucking Freaks. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Check you after the bump.
I am Sadhu, master of the theater of the macabre.
Prepare yourself for the horror. Prepare yourself for the terror. Prepare yourself for the ultimate blood-curdling experience.
Blood-sucking freaks!
In all the history of evil, there has never been anything or anyone to equal the demented mind of Sadhu.
Oh, now we're getting the proper reaction.
He was an evil genius of pain, with the most bizarre machines and tools ever created to torture the body of woman. Yes, torture, and torture, and torture, but keeping that once beautiful body alive so it can suffer more, and more, and more.
But if you are skeptical or bored, then just pretend that what you see is real.
Possessed by his evil, the tortured become the torturers. He turned young virgins into flesh-eating cannibals and set them loose in a frenzy of pain-filled orgies. Sadu, he was the creator and the director. He was the master of
Bloodsucking Freaks.
the show that will make anyone retch.
And we are back, and it is random DVD review time. Robert, what movie are we reviewing today?
Bloodsucking Freaks.
Bloodsucking Freaks. Fuck yeah, man. This is a great piece of exploitation cinema, honestly. It's very rough around the edges. I mean, it's not like there's any superlative cinematography to speak of here, but what this movie lacks in like panache or whatever, it makes up for in just straight up outrageousness, right?
Yeah.
Robert, I showed this movie to you not too long ago, like maybe about a year ago. What were your first initial thoughts when watching this movie, and what really stood out for you here? I mean,
Part of the beginning where a vice grip that lady's hand right to the table.
yeah, it kind of just goes straight into the craziness, you know? Like first it starts with that girl being delivered in that crate, and Ralphus, who we will talk about here in a little bit because Ralphus is amazing. I mean, Ralphus just pretty much like with a chain just raises this chick out of this crate, and it pretty much immediately sets the story in motion, and it goes right into the stage play where all this torture is going on, and people think that it's fake torture. This is like Grand Guignol style theater or something like that.
Like a magic show.
Yeah, pretty much like a really gory magic show. But in reality, these women are actually being tortured on stage.
They're killing them. They're pulling their eyeballs out, eating them.
Straight up, yeah. There's a scene where Ralph is straight up cooking some eyeballs, and it is very gross looking because they're obviously real, like cow eyeballs. You know.
Yeah, I think that's real. Yeah.
Yeah, that pisses me off in so many ways. We all know why. But man, Ralphus is just the best here, man, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a treasure.
Yeah, he is so joyous throughout every scene that he's in. I mean, he does this weird little dance every time that he has like a victory or whatever. And I mean, he does some pretty reprehensible things, of course. I mean, this is a pretty disturbing movie. I'll go ahead and say this. This is on the Horrible Reviews top 100 most disturbing movies. And that's actually where, it's not where I first like heard of this movie before, but it's where I first got fully acquainted with it, right? And I don't know, man. I mean, the violence and the gore in this movie, it's actually not half bad for its time.
1976.
Yeah, for mid-70s grindhouse gore, I mean, I've actually seen worse in some Italian movies or some other Euro schlock films or whatever. I mean, what would you compare the gore in this movie to?
I don't think it's half bad. I think it's sort of like Drive-In Movie Massacre or Drive-In Massacre, right?
Yeah, Drive-In Massacre.
Yeah.
Man, that movie is kind of boring, honestly.
It is. It gets boring waiting for the kills to happen, you know?
And I wouldn't say that this movie is boring.
No, it's not.
There's always some new kind of piece of outrageousness just around the corner in this movie. Like, for instance, there's the whole S&M bondage angle.
It's everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah, completely. I mean,
guillotines.
There's so many different fucked up fetishes being portrayed in this movie. I mean, no kink shaming or anything, but I mean, there's women being used as furniture. I mean, there's like torture racks. I mean, electrocution. I mean, as you said, the vice grips at the beginning of the movie. I mean,
what about that wishbone? He's set the
the wishbone scene. Oh,
like
Lord.
2 come-alongs, one to each leg.
Like, you see Zardu, the main antagonist of the movie, being flogged by his henchwomen. I mean, you see a woman's ass being used as a dartboard.
Not fun.
No. You see a cage full of feral, naked cannibal women that I guess Zardu has been keeping as slaves or something to guard his money. I mean, it's like, what else is in this movie, man? I mean, there's a ballerina that kicks a guy to death. There's a cock sandwich at the fucking end.
God, yeah.
Oh, man, it's like I could sit here and just keep listing scene after scene after scene. There's so much craziness in this movie, and it does come off kind of mean-spirited in many ways, but I have fun watching this movie. Like, not because I get off on any of it, because it's just so fucking ridiculous. It's a level of ridiculousness that I don't feel you really see in these types of movies anymore.
Not at all.
Like maybe, I mean, it's appropriate that it's on Troma, because maybe on Troma you will see that. That's probably the one place where you will see craziness like this. And they are pretty much the only company that could release this.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. But when Troma released it, they sent it to the MPAA. They paid for a rating. They got an R rating. They cut like a good 40 minutes of footage or something like that from this movie. And then when it was re-released, I mean, I don't really remember if it said that Troma released this initially, but we'll just go with that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it was released with the R rating, they actually put the footage that they cut right back into the movie. It was basically uncut in all its glory, the way that it's seen on its DVD release. And that caused a little fervor with the MPAA. They actually sued them for it. They sued the filmmakers for this shit.
Sucks.
It sucks, and I mean, the MPAA is kind of a crock of shit in its own right. I mean, that's a whole nother episode altogether. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting part of its history, and I guess we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up now. Robert, what are your final thoughts on this movie, and what really stood out to you the most here?
Probably the second vice script scene with the chick, where he saws her hand off, and then he pulls out her eyeball.
Yeah.
Right in front of everybody.
Yeah, that just completely just set the standard for every single torture scene after that.
Yeah. After that, it's like, what's going to happen? This is like really crazy shit.
Honestly, when I saw that first stage play at the beginning of the movie, I knew that this film was going to be something special, so to speak.
Oh, man. It's like a carnival act. They just take it on the road. That'd be funny.
Yeah. What would you rate this movie, Robert?
It being a Troma film, which we all know and love, wish to see more. There's hundreds of Troma films we haven't tapped into, really.
Yeah.
But I would rate this a 3.5 or a 4. Probably a 4.
Probably a 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the 3.5 rating.
Yeah.
I mean, by no means is this a particularly spectacular movie in any way. I mean, it is kind of shitty, but it's that special kind of shitty that is just fun to watch. If anything, just for all the craziness. Like, it's kind of like Pieces in that respect. You know, it's a movie that you come to because its reputation precedes it. You know, also like Cannibal Holocaust, or even slashers like Sleepaway Camp.
Burial Ground.
Or Burial Ground, you know, Italian zombie movies like that. Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, I think that 3.5 out of 5 is definitely an appropriate rating for this. Even though I really do love watching it. I've seen this movie a lot. I mean, not a whole lot of horror fans really care for it for some reason.
Yeah, fuck them.
But I mean, if you are into Troma, if you are into disturbing cinema, if you're into horror or exploitation filmmaking in general, this is definitely a movie to watch. It's something that is pretty much standard viewing as far as I'm concerned, alongside other exploitation classics.
Yeah, it's a Troma, so we have to love it no matter what.
We pretty much have to love it no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much reflexively buying Troma films now just because they're Troma films.
Let it stack up.
Yeah, and they've done a ton of different genres, actually. So, but yeah, that's our rating and review of Bloodsucking Freaks. Robert, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, that's it.
That's it?
That's it. I don't feel like plugging nothing. I'm good right now.
You don't feel like, oh, come on, Robert, there's got to be something going on while you're in isolation.
Oh, just counting the days.
Just counting the days. God damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty much all that many of us can do right now, honestly. Yeah. But anyway, we thank you for listening to this episode of Collateral Cinema Director's Cut. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Check out Collateral Cinema's Patreon page. Also, check out Collateral Gaming, our sister podcast, with all kinds of content regarding video games and video game culture and whatnot. Check out Trial by Air Variety Show. That's another one of our affiliate podcasts, I would say. I'd say by this point, Chaz is an affiliate of ours now, and a friend of ours as well.
Yeah.
He's affiliated with us. And also, check us out on Spotify, Chill Lover Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever else you catch your podcasts. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and leave you now. We will be back with a new Collateral Cinema episode very soon. And we will be discussing the Full Moon Features classic Intruders.
Yeah, awesome.
That's going to be a lot of fun. We've been putting that one off, but we're finally getting to it. Finally. So yeah, check that out. And thank you once again for listening to Collateral Cinema Director's Cut. I'm Beau Maddox.
I'm Ron Ortega.
And we are out of here. Laters, folks.
Are you ready to accept my domination?
Collateral Cinema is an L Company production. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.